Welcome to Cinema Creature Club with your hosts, Baby Tay
and on Screamo Socks.
And join us as we take a deep dive into macabre, unknown films that we find in the wild. Hello, hello.
All right.
So, I'd like to start this by saying we are just going into the wild with this. We're not by any means professionals when it comes to the world of podcasting, but I'm excited.
Same here. Very excited. This is our first deep dive, and we're just trying to get a feel for this. And we have very similar horror tastes, so we decided, hey, well, why don't we just start up a podcast because we watch the same type of movies?
Yeah, like wouldn't it be just cool to just talk about movies and the different elements of them and the non-mainstream horror movies that everybody talks about when I try to find those cult classics and talk about them.
Yeah, we could talk a little bit about the process real quick. We have some criteria. We have to find the movie out in the wild, which means, going into your, local new and used places to buy DVDs or media. We also look for ones that we have not seen or, maybe have heard of but never really, watched it. And also it has to kind of fit the bill of what looks like a cult classic to us. If I look at the cover and I read the back, the synopsis, and I'm kind of intrigued, then, we'll give it a shot. I mean, we know what kind of quality movies we're getting, so
yes.
We're not going to be critiquing about how great it looks or their CGI or whatnot.
Yes. So let's talk about how you found this movie. You have it on DVD. That's right.
Correct.
Right? You found it. Okay. 7 Doors of Death, which is actually really interesting because when I got to see it, I saw it on a streaming platform. So it's actually had a completely different title. So I thought that was pretty interesting. On Tubi, it is called The Beyond. So I did a little research because it was a little frustrating for me at first to not find this movie that we talked about. And I was like, dude, I know you told me. And I didn't want to ask you right away. But come to find out, 2 different titles. So I did some research on that, and I just was very curious. And so your version is the American version. Mm-hmm. Mine was the original version, and the reason why it was changed was to appeal to the American culture by having death in the title, because The Beyond was just too boring for us Americans. We couldn't appreciate the Italian heritage, I guess, of this film.
Right. I mean, I do agree, like, The Beyond does sound more sci-fi to me than it does horror, but even maybe from a spiritual standpoint, but a little bit, I do appreciate the 7 Doors of Death.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And so talking about it, it came out in 1981. I think that's pretty evident with the with the whole overall vibe of the movie. Low budget, I would say. But that does not mean that there's nothing to be admired about low budget films. Some of my favorite horror films are low budget.
It gives it that nostalgia, right? It gives it that feeling close to like found footage, but it gives you that feeling of almost like someone's holding a camcorder or something, and you're watching as it plays out. Like, that's the kind of feeling I get with these kind of horror movies.
Yeah, and what I think is also interesting is a lot of modern horror films are actually seeking out to use older film lenses and equipment just to even get that, or try to replicate that type of vibe to films, because I think the industry is starting to understand just because it's newer and everything is all newer doesn't make it better. Sometimes you have to go back to basics. So that's pretty interesting as well, that type is still valued today, even as modern movies are coming out.
Yeah, I do seek it. I like it. So the director is Lucio Fulci. I say it because I've only heard of this director, and I only heard of it after I bought this movie. I was listening to a couple other podcasts, and they kept saying that's so Fulci, that this kind of movie is pulling a Fulci move, and I just kind of left it as like, well, if I come across one or whatnot. And then I was looking at the movie DVD cover and realized, we have one. We have a Fulci, so let's give it a shot and see what this Fulci's all about.
And I think he's known for just having those kind of films that don't really have any linear plots to it. It's very PC, kind of just thrown together. Like you said, that kind of like found footage vibe to it, where it ties in multiple stories simultaneously as the movie's going on. It kind of gives you that like, what am I watching?
Yeah, like you shouldn't be watching it.
Like, wait a minute.
I agree. In some parts, as we'll get into this review, there's some parts I'm just like, wow, would have never.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Some's too coincidental, and some just like, okay, that happened.
Yeah, there's some little funny, little silly things that I appreciated in there.
Yeah, and
to talk about.
And some more about it is, before we get into the whole plot, is this is part of a trilogy, right? You found that this was part of a trilogy?
Yes, I did find out that this is a part of a trilogy, so I thought that was interesting as well, and I think it made sense a little bit, and I was like, okay, so there's a reason why some of the stuff I'm just like, what's going on? So I'm hoping, with the other ones, we can find them.
Right, and then kind of fill in our holes. Yeah, because apparently we were watching the second film of the trilogy, so...
Yeah, so we really, truly went in blind.
Yeah, it really did feel, like we were thrown into the movie, so makes sense now. So we can just go ahead and start off with this film. It starts off where it says Louisiana, 1927. We've got 2 canoes, which looks like canoes or boats, are on the floor. I mean, in the river, and they're going through, and they're trying to, what looks like to me, go and hang somebody, or
they're looking. Yeah, they're on a mission. They've got, they're not nothing short of their pitchforks and
right, like
just an angry mob.
They're gonna find that monster and do what they do back then.
Took care of business.
Yes. Sorry about the crinkling here. But so we have this going on, and there's also 2 cars with mind you, all these people look like business salesmen. They're wearing 3-piece suits and, like those newspaper fedoras. And there's 2 cars full of them. So we've got about maybe 12 people in total. And at the same time, it cuts to a lady who ends up being our main character. Her name is Liza Morell, and she's played by a Catriona McCall. So this character is going through this house that simultaneously these men are pulling up to back in 1927. They're coming up to this. She's walking through this house, and the one thing I noticed was, as she was coming through the hallway, only lightning was going off in the hallway. And then as she stepped into the room, like this living room area, then the lightning started happening throughout the rest of the house. So it was the first thing I caught, and I was like, okay, I see what kind of movie we've got here.
We feel like, okay, this sets the tone.
This sets the tone the whole way. We're going to see something totally out of the ordinary. So going back to where the men get inside the house, and then she finds this book, and as she's reading this book, I believe the name it's EIBON, but Iben or Iben, yeah, I couldn't. They never really said it a whole bunch, and plus it's overdubbed on my end, so I couldn't really tell too much of what they're saying. But she's reading through this book, and it comes as like a commentary, and it talks a little bit about the story. And then it cuts to the men breaking into the house. At that point, did you kind of understand what was happening? Like she was reading the past, right? Or it kind of felt like she was seeing what was happening, and they're playing
it out. Yeah.
They're playing it out for us, right? I did notice that as the man goes through the house, did you see the scene where they cut through the kitchen?
Yes.
Apparently there's quote unquote help there, and he's just sitting at the table, and he doesn't stop anybody.
He's just like,
yeah, like he got whoever they're going for has got what they got coming for them.
You know what? But probably back then, people were about minding their own business.
Right. And that's the way, that's it. That's why I brought up it was 1927. So, you can tell what was going on back then. So anyways, it cuts back and forth. The movie does this a lot. It jumps. It jumps a lot, and sometimes right in the middle of something without explaining it. But it does that. And in this particular scene, it cuts back to her. We see fire going off, and it does the intro. But then you cut back to the men, and they come across a room that says 36. And I'm going to do this throughout our podcast. So I'm going to say this right now. I find little anomalies or things that don't have any kind of sequential continuity to it. And when they came across this room, it said 36. The 36 were actually metal, I guess, numbers that were on the door, but you can tell where they painted right underneath it, like it's a fresh coat of paint on this old door, so it's like super shiny.
Got the landlord special.
Yeah. And that's another thing. We'll talk about the rest of that too. But they come to 36. They slam the door open. There's a guy there, and he's painting. And I don't know about you, but the painting kind of looked like water to me with crashing waves or something.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me too.
So I was like, okay. So this guy's painting, and they grab him, right?
Catch him.
Yeah, and at that point, he's yelling at them, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but this place is sitting on the 7 doors of death.
This is one of the gateways to hell.
Yeah, I've got the key, and you don't know what you're doing." So they're like, we don't care about that. And one of the men who's carrying around some pretty hefty chains just starts whipping him.
He called him a warlock.
He called him a warlock, yeah. And was ripping into him. And let's talk about the special effects of this, because at some other point they drag him down the hallway. It turns into like a dungeon somehow. Yeah. It looks like an old house.
There's just a clear line. It's like painting, dungeon.
The dungeon. And they're dragging him through this dungeon, right? And they lay him down, and then they just start whipping him. As they're whipping him, like, they're showing scenes, and I gotta say though, the work looked good. It looked like a real arm. It looked like a real leg. It looked like his chest, and it was just spread open like bologna, and like all this blood comes out and everything. And it's just very dramatic, and almost gave me, Freddy Krueger feel. Like,
so the way that, and I'm so glad that you said that, because exactly when he hit him with the chain on his face, and the way it just did a quick cut scene to where it just showed the skin splitting open, was very reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street, in the way that Freddy Krueger would just kind of like slice people, and you would see their wounds just come up like little blips. Just that's kind of like, that's what it reminded me of. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought it was really cool.
And fair enough, the blood didn't look fake. And I was really like, okay, like, that's pretty good. Okay, this is good. Yeah, we'll keep going.
You're like, okay, 1981.
We're only in what, 10 minutes of the movie by now. And so they pick him back up, and they drag him a little bit further in this dungeon, and they throw him against the wall, where they proceeded to crucify this man with railroad ties to the wall, right?
Absolutely.
And they're hitting him they're nailing him in his wrist area, not in the hands. And, you know, as they're doing this, I'm thinking, again, they made it look like his arm and hand were connected. Because in your head, you're thinking it's probably somebody on the other side of the wall with their hand through a hole. And it kind of, but honestly, I kind of chalked it up to maybe they already put the nails on there and made it look like it, but he was striking it pretty hard. So I don't know, but it looked real to me in a way. Like,
I'm not mad at it.
No, it was very, very done tastefully for that type of era, especially how the movie started off. Was like, what am I watching? Especially with the flickering lights for lightning, you know?
And what I also appreciated too was kind of like the sepia toned. Like, I don't know, for your version, did it have like that sepia tone to it whenever it was specifically going over this scene in the movie versus everything else?
Right.
It just gave, I guess, or added to that element, like, hey, y'all, this is from 1927.
Yeah, it gave you that marker, that identifier that you're looking at something in the past.
And so I really liked that because it wasn't black and white. Because that's
No.
very different, because your black and white is just a very harsh contrast of colors. This was a very warm tone to it. And I appreciated that. I liked that.
Good point. It did give you that feel that it almost felt like when you look at those old Charlie Chaplin movies, but because it's not really black and white, you know, it's kind of got that gray, like you said, sepia color filter on it. So again, I'm going to say that after they already nailed him, I'm going to say that when they threw the acid, you know, first the powder acid and then whatever the active agent is, and it just starts eating his skin, like they throw it on his face and it's just eating his skin. I'm going to say that the next 2 minutes with this crazy mid-70s music
Yes.
of just his face oozing in different angles, it was like watching a candle melt. And I'm going to say that that's a Fulci thing.
Yeah, that seems to be, kind
Right?
of like his thing.
Because, but yeah, he that clearly loved doing that. Now, you did strike another thing with me when you said Warlock. I did read that Fulci was Catholic, and some of his movies seem to have that feel or references to the Catholic faith. And so Warlock and going after somebody who's considered a witch would be something that he could identify or was brought up with. So, you know, as we go through the movie, I do want to say that we're not going to fully go through every scene and whatnot, but that whole intro needed to go scene by scene, because at this point that music is already playing. You're watching the face just ooze, and you know the movie's going to start. It kind of gave you that feel of
Buckle up.
yes. Like I got that kind of feeling with The Exorcist, right? When that Tubular Bells song came on, it was like, oh, here we go. Something's going to happen, right? And I think the joke is, if you hear a symphony, run. So
Yeah. You start hearing strings and you're like,
you start hearing all that. It's time, you know, something's being channeled. So at this point, we now get introduced to our main character, Liza, and she's walking with, I believe, her partner or somebody in the business with her, because they're looking at this house that this painter was at that was murdered in his dungeon. They're looking at his house as a hotel, and it was like kind of old and decrepit, but she was seeing some kind of charm to it, so she wanted to turn it into a hotel. So as they're talking, they're rounding the house, and there's two painters. And the two painters are saying, yeah, we'll get this done by tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, we're going to get this done for you as soon as we can.
Yes.
Very eager to please her.
Yeah, thumbs up, right? Don't worry, we got it. And he's on this probably 10-foot scaffolding. And he gets some paint and he turns around, he's about to paint, and he looks inside the window, and what happens? Sees what I think he thought was a ghost,
yes.
right? He
With
sees
the
somebody
white
in there,
eyes, those piercing
milky white
eyes.
eyes. Uh-huh.
And he's
And he freaks out and jumps backwards off of the scaffolding.
a very dramatic, yes.
Hits the ground, right? So we're talking like 2 minutes into the movie, and that just boom, 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 boom happened. Mm-hmm. We cut to inside, and they got him on a couch, tending to his wounds.
I know. Dang, that fall did him in.
There's like 3 cars outside, and they're like, "Where's the doctor?"
Oh, where is the doctor?
Yes. And I'm like, the man's like talking nonsense. He's bleeding all over the place from a fall.
Just squirting blood everywhere.
Yeah, like it was. I was amazed at that. And then his other painter friend standing behind him, just smoking a cigarette. Like, damn, that sucks.
Man.
Yeah.
Better you than me, pal.
Yes. And so that's when we get introduced to the doctor. The doctor comes in. He's played by the other co-star, David Warbeck. He is Dr. John. Oh, I had it here. He is Dr. John McCabe. He's saying, I got to take this guy to the hospital right now. He needs to go. So they take off, and he drops him off at the hospital, and the man died. And he's basically in the coroner's office saying he wants some kind of testing done, and he just wants a full autopsy. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to say was this coroner's, and I could be wrong because for all you listeners out there, Tay is in the business. And so I don't know if that was a coroner's room but it just had a bunch of the people who had passed on tables.
So, I mean, of course, 1981 is before my time, so I don't know how things were done back then, but that's kind of been the general consensus that's kind of like what a morgue for would look like, I guess. I certainly know how it looks in a funeral home. But I also looked at it and was like, none of those people are embalmed and they're just sitting out.
Right.
That's not accurate at all.
In bags, mind you. And the bags are clear at that too. But it did give the aesthetic of the house or that room, because it was all white windowed. Like white light was coming through, and that they were in like kind of clear, bags. It just gave this aesthetic feeling of like pure white. Like it just made it seem like, I'll kind of give a little hint. Like, to me, it felt like the going to the light when you pass away kind of idea.
I was just gonna say, kind of just the beginning of the end.
Yes, it signified that. And so he takes off, and he's driving down the street, and he realizes who's next to him is Liza, who's in the car. I guess she went to go get groceries, and he rolls down his window and he like honks at her, and they both look at each other and do this like is it mementos? Those Mentos. He does this Mentos face, and they look at each other like and the next thing you know, they're in a bar.
Yeah, that was enough drinks.
For her. Yeah, that's all she needed. And he's there like as if he didn't invite her anywhere. Like, he's just like, so, what are you talking about? Like, because, there's more to that. But what I found funny about that scene was the bar phone rings, and they're like, "Doctor, it's the hospital." I'm like, so they already knew that he goes there regularly? Like, that's,
great. Like, this doctor's a drunk.
Yeah, he's not at home. He's at the bar. Yeah, so call him there. He's got to come check this out real quick.
They call the bar before they call home.
Right. So, I think, I believe in like some of the part there, she was starting to experience things in that house, that hotel, right? She came across that book, and then she started seeing, apparently there's like a buzzard that happens, like a doorbell buzzer for the room. Cause if it's, in this particular case, remember the 36, that was the room number of the painter. And, now this bell goes off and it's 36, right? And she's like looking at it like, that kind of signifies something, but I don't know what it is. And so she's starting to experience stuff. Yeah. And so the doctor kind of finds out a little bit about what she's talking about. And he's like, that's kind of weird. And he's like, tell me what happened. And what happened was she went into 36. Oh, I can't even remember if this is the correct sequence, but she goes into 36 and she's looking around and she sees the book on that table, and then the door opens to the closet slowly. And she turns and looks. And then she just walks up to it. Like, I didn't just see that open, right? Yeah, I'm going to go walk over there.
Yeah. Where most people would be like, I'm going to go.
Yeah. That clearly opens slowly, and there's no central air in this house. Something's happening.
Exactly. Yes.
So she goes, and the clothes are shaking. And so she slowly puts her hand out to stop the clothes. And then shrugs it off. Like, what?
I could never.
I mean, I'm the type that will go look, but her facial expressions didn't match her actions. She was horrified, but walked over there easily. And then stopped the clothes from moving and then decided, nah, it was nothing. It's just my mind, and like walked off. And at that point, she's scared to death because she opens up the bathroom door and there is the painter crucified in the shower, oozing and everything. Freaks out, runs off, tells the doctor at the bar, and then that's when they go back to the house, and he's like, I don't see anything here. Yeah. And she's like, oh, where's that book? And the book's missing.
Usually the book was on the table.
Yeah.
And he's like, girl, there was no book.
Right.
And he's like, and there was really these nails, it's just rust.
Yes, he was like, it's rusty. Like, I don't know what you saw. And he's doing this like in this like nonchalant way, like whatever, right? Like,
it feels like she's just being gaslit at this point.
Right. And I believe I skipped a spot, and this is where like I need you to like, keep me on track here. But
well, and that's also kind of hard because with this movie, it just does a lot of skipping, so it's really hard to be like, dang, did this scene happen in the beginning or
right? And we could have wrote it down, but this was part of the experience, was figuring out how this works, and at the same time, this is how I interpreted the movie in my brain, was like in this order, because I forgot to talk about the part where there's some really good cinematic capturing in this, the positioning and the framing. One good example was where the painter had fallen was like a pool of blood outside, and this truck just pulls into the scene, and it's just Joe's Plumbing, like right there in your face. And it was really cool how they did that transition. To me, I thought it was very classic, but it was neat. It was done the right way. Perfect framing. And so that introduces this character Joe, who comes in to like fix the plumbing because apparently the basement is flooded. Right? It's flooded. And the thing I thought that was another funny thing was, as soon as Joe got in the house, he hadn't even introduced himself. He already lit a cigarette in her house. Like,
nice place.
Yeah.
Mind if I light up?
And he lit it sideways in a side profile to the camera, right? So you get this like silhouette of like what looked like a cowboy, because he had his leg kind of arched, and he's lighting a cigarette, and she's like, "You're Joe," and he was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, well, it's over here in the basement," and he's like, "All right." So they go check it out, and she shows him. He like gets down there, and it's just like flooded in probably a good amount of space, right? Pretty good. And she goes, "Well, how long is it gonna take?" And he tells her,
yeah, like it's going to take 20 minutes. I got things to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope it's not a big deal. I hope it's not expensive. That's what she's trying to get at.
You better be fast about it because I'm out. I got things to do. I got to go to the grocery store. He tells her it's going to take as long as it takes. Well, dang.
You know what? Yeah.
Like, he was very cowboy.
Like, look, ma'am, you called me. Okay.
Right. What do you want me to do?
I'm not even through my cigarette.
Right. He hadn't even finished it. So that's when she takes off, and she, goes to the grocery store and finds the doctor. And after they come back and he leaves, the doctor leaves, this is when they find out Joe's missing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you want to talk about the scene with what happens to Joe.
So just as Joe's just kind of exploring, checking out, I guess, the work that's before him, to get this job done in the basement, he starts checking things out, and he starts, what do you say, like he's kind of demoing that little bit of the wall. He looks and notices on the brick that something's kind of amiss, and then he starts looking at it and he's like, wait a minute, this is kind of, hold on, and he starts chipping away at it. Yeah. And
proceeds to just destroy that wall without permission or anything, by the way. Just
yeah,
going at it.
He did say it takes how long it's going to take, and probably it's going to take what it's going to take, so he's just like, whatever, let me just get this done. And eventually he has a not so warm welcome. He's
right.
Could you imagine, man? But at least he got that one last cigarette in. But this hand just straight up snatches his face, and Buddy here loses an eye.
Right. It's like he got face squeezed by this hand, and it's weird because yeah. And the weird thing is that he's grabbing the mouth to the nose area, and he's squeezing, but then
he's also
Joe's eye
in his
pops
fingers.
out.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think he was grabbing it, and then he's pushing his fingers forward after he got like a good grip on his face.
Right into the eye socket. Right
in the eye socket, and then you just see the moment where the finger goes in, and you can obviously see the edit where they put in that other eyeball.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought it was cute. It's like,
it added to the nostalgia. I mean, it could have been without, but
that's what I love about these low budget films is like, because like as they're making these, they're like, all right, dude, let's try to just pop in this eyeball and make this work.
Yep.
So,
it looks cool.
It does. I definitely admire those kind of effects and that element of gore and just the screaming and the squirming and the music, and it all just works.
Right. Because that music does come back on, like the same one that came on when the Ivan was being melted. Mm-hmm. That same music came on whenever Joe was attacked.
Yes.
And so, we have two other characters in this movie that I don't see the need for them. There's, I think her name was...
Are you talking about the wife? Joe's wife?
No, not Joe's wife, but I think her name was Martha. Was like another caretaker.
Was the hotel maid.
Yeah, and then there was Arthur, right? The slightly incompetent guy.
Disabled.
Well, I guess you're right. Yeah. And so, those two, they end up finding their death. And the reason why I'm skipping through is because Martha finds Joe, but Joe ends up coming back from the dead, and he kills her the same way he got killed, by squeezing her the mouth, and her eyes pop out as well. Mm-hmm. And hers actually looked a little bit better, but in that scene, mind you, we're starting to see a zombie effect happen, and we're going slower than Night of the Living Dead zombies. Like these, they barely.
There was no threat.
Like they were. I don't know if they were more hungry than they were dead, but they were slow, and so. The scene back and forth with Martha and Joe was like, you could have ran away easily.
Dude, they could have done so much. They could have played a real quick rock paper scissors, best of three match before.
Yeah, they could have. They could have done some tic-tac-toe. It was.
It kind of reminded me of in Austin Powers whenever the guy's driving that thing and they're like, oh my God, we got it.
No.
Or they're driving it and then he's like, no.
Yeah, like, move. Yes.
That's what that reminded me of.
Same thing. They were taking forever, and Joe took forever. So then he kills her. But, back to the story of Joe, he's at the morgue. Mm-hmm. And you brought up Joe's wife, so you can kind of go into that part.
Yeah, so we're introduced to Joe's wife, Mary Ann, who is obviously distraught. Her husband's dead. Crazy to me because people just can't just go to the morgue like that. You can't just...
Right. She like leaves her daughter outside and is like, I'll be right back.
She's like, don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's, we're not in the age of iPads and stuff, so that kid literally is just
sat
twiddling her
there.
thumbs.
Yeah, imagination.
What's my mom doing?
Yep.
So we're introduced to her, and she's distraught, and she wants to see him. She's just ready to see him. She wants to dress him.
Oh yeah, that's right. She has clothes with her, and she's looking to get her husband dressed.
So you see her. You see that this close-up shot of her taking some scissors to a white piece of fabric. You can't even make it out at first that it's a shirt, but she's cutting, and it's so she can get him dressed. And so, just for me being in the business and why we do that, we always cut everybody's clothes in the back to get them to fit. So it's just kind of funny how she just naturally knew. She's like, oh, I got to cut a shirt so I can, put it on him.
Mind you, those shears were nice.
Dude, the way that it just
like
gliding.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the effects, right?
We
We hardly talk about the effects. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, very satisfying.
And it had that nice... It was like that effect was really good.
Yes. So I thought it was interesting that she just knew how to get someone dressed, by yourself, a man of that size, and of her size. That's impressive because it can be kind of hard work to get that done. Yeah. So that's going on, and then we see her daughter again. I'm trying to remember her, Jill. That was Jill, yes. The redheaded girl with the pigtails. So she stumbles in, and she's like, what is going on? And then do you want to talk about what ends up happening to poor Joe here? And oh my goodness, and poor this little girl, Jill. She's going through it.
Jill is, I think she's alerted because her mother's screaming inside, that room,
and
right?
So she's on the floor, and then now she's unconscious, and she's like, what?
This lady somehow fell directly underneath a jar of acid. Yeah,
which is crazy. What an OSHA violation is that?
On the top shelf.
I know, the very tippy top shelf on the edge.
It was open.
Yes.
Like a pitcher of water.
And not only, it's a glass bottle as well. So.
Right. And so Jill comes in and she sees her mom on the ground. She's like, ah. And then she looks over to her right. She sees Joe like just dismantled and laying on that bed. She's like, ah. And then somehow the jar just starts swaying and it tips over and pours all the acid onto the mom's face because she's directly right underneath it where she passed out, right? From looking at Joe, like, oh my God, blood, she passed out.
That sizzle.
Right. So here we go again, right? It's the Fulci. Mm-hmm. He takes all this shot while this acid's just falling on the face.
Melting.
And I'm going to say the face did look good.
It did. I was impressed.
Right. Because like when the acid was hitting, it was turning the face red in those certain spots. And then eventually it just started eating and it's just like oozing off of her, right? At this point, Jill's freaking out. And so Jill starts running because the ooze is coming after her like the blob. It's just, but it's not thick. It's just like melted ice cream coming at her.
Yeah.
And at that speed too, very slow. She's freaking out.
And she's just watching it. And I did appreciate the back and forth of showing the creeping of all of that liquid slowly making its way. And then you see her feet and you see like just those, she pauses and she's just like, oh my God. And she takes like a step back and she's like, oh, it's still coming. Okay. And she just keeps taking like little steps back when she can just turn around and just leave.
But yeah, no, she was like, I guess I'm going to outrun this somehow. And every door is locked, of course. Oh, so she's stuck in there. And so the scene ends. And the next scene is funeral. She's there at the funeral with her family, her parents, and they're burying her. And not in a plot. They got her. They took a shot somewhere in between the cemeteries that have
like mausoleum.
Yes,
The crypts.
and yeah, and
It's called
it's
an
like
entombment.
entombment. Okay, and I'm thinking they had money like that.
Seriously. But you know what? Also, keep in mind too that this is Louisiana. So,
That's true.
given in that area, just because, the weather, they get affected a lot by flooding and things like that. So they actually opt to have above ground crypts and mausoleums and things like that. That's kind of the safest place to put a body. So yeah, it's very interesting.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's just because the where they're at, you don't really see a lot of in ground, especially in certain parishes, because the better part of New Orleans kind of sits in a fish bowl almost.
Yeah, totally. And so when the funeral ends, I'm thinking, wow, everybody just left her.
Yeah, like who's your guardian now?
Yeah, she's just there, standing there.
You're like, well, that sucks, little girl.
Yeah, see you
We're
later.
gonna go eat.
We're going to Olive Garden. Don't monetize us. But yeah, so I'm thinking, wow. And then just all of a sudden, Liza shows up. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Jill. I'm so sorry. And Jill's like devastated, right? Mm-hmm. But Jill made me realize that we forgot one main character, Emily. Mm-hmm. I forgot to bring her up.
The white eyes, the White Walker eyes.
So we're introduced to this character because in between driving to the grocery store, Liza comes across a girl who has a German Shepherd just standing in the middle of the road. And there's no cars around. Mm-hmm. And Liza's still going like 55 to the point where she just screeches right in front of that girl.
She's like, God, something's in the road. What is that? It just keeps going full speed. And then she's like, oh my God, that is a lady.
She didn't have her readers on, I guess.
I guess not.
So she, stops, and then that girl just says, Liza, I've been looking for you. And it's like, well, okay. So then Liza talks to this girl, Emily, and Emily's kind of discussing what happens. Why she should leave because of the 7 doors of death, and she's somehow, some way gonna be involved in this whole, prophecy that's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, she tells Liza, you gotta go. Liza, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nobody here, because she can. Emily stands up and is like, somebody's here. Announce yourself, right? And she's like, Liza's like, there's nobody here. I don't know what you're talking about. You're blind. And then the girl,
like, I'm going room 36.
Yes, exactly. And that was his number. That was his room.
See, they were getting back to that 36, the one that was painted over, and then the room that painter fell from, and so she's like, don't do it.
And back to Catholicism, that's 666, 3 sixes, right? Mm-hmm. So Emily's freaked out. So she, this scene is hilarious. I am going to call it another Fulci scene because it's slow and dramatic, and it has weird music to it, just like the face melting and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Liza just watches Emily run out of the house with her hands down, straight down the hallway and out the back door.
Just books it.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute. And then they cut to Liza, and she's like kind of rethinking about what she had saw. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, oh, she's thinking the same thing as me. This chick just,
like, wait, what?
This blind woman just ran out of my house. Not even hands forward. Just didn't care what was in front of her, just ran out the house. So I was like, she clearly saw the same thing I did.
Which is kind of a cool element because it's like gives it that like authenticity. Like, well, damn.
Right.
Now
right.
what?
Right. And she clearly heard something, and Liza's still in denial. And so it goes back to where the doctor is like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And she tells her about this girl, Emily, and she's like, there's nobody.
He's like, there's none of this is real. Like, girl, what is going on with you?
But at this point, you don't know if you can believe him because he said the same thing about Martha and Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, well, Martha and Arthur came with the house. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know who those people are. And yet they ended up being for real, and they ended up dying. So you're like, Emily has to be real. So he goes to the house, and it's boarded up. No one's lived there. Mm-hmm. Dusty. He breaks in. He's looking around. He sees the painting. Mm-hmm. And then he also finds the book. And so he confronts Liza about that. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I went over there and there's nobody there. It's just boarded up. Mm-hmm. And at this point, you're kind of thinking, oh, Liza's crazy. Because he starts asking her, who are you? Like, who are you really? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, here comes the twist, right? And he's like, I don't know who you are because you left that book there for me to read so I could believe what's going on. You're supposed to, not be here because this is the 7 doors of death. And I don't know if they say the beyond on yours, but, or to beyond.
No, yeah, they definitely didn't say anything about the beyond. It was just definitely like, girl, don't you know what this place is?
Yeah, he's like, it's the 7 doors of death.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the house just gets pissed off because they're in the basement. And it just starts blowing wind at them and like lightning. And they're like trying to stay on this plank so they don't fall in the water. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, that's not the twist I was looking for. Like, I thought she was crazy. I was like, this is a whole lot better movie if she was just crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But no, the house gets mad. It sends them off running. And they're like, we got to get out of here because the house is kind of crumbling. And let's just go. Let's go to the hospital. So they get to the hospital and nobody's around. Mm-hmm. Right? It's dead. There's nothing there. And he's freaking out about it. And he does one thing. He goes, let's go to my office. They go to his office and he gets his gun and he tells her, I'm a doctor, damn it. I need something that's rational. He grabs the gun, proceeds to load it. And I'm like, oh, okay, so here we go. All of a sudden, you start thinking the morgue, right? Oh, the morgue. They're there at the hospital. There's plenty of dead people there. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, here comes the dead, right? I'm guessing in hindsight, he was there with her. And when he made her realize that it's the 7 doors of death, then it actually happened. The prophecy.
Mm-hmm. It like manifested.
Right. It started to happen. Like you're right.
They wanted, I guess, that acknowledgement. They're like, yeah, like the zombies were like, all right, cool, now they get it. All right.
Yeah.
And let's go, boys.
Yeah. It's time to walk the streets. Yeah. So they're in the hospital going slower than a snail. Mm-hmm. And Liza and the doctor are running around and he's just shooting people, right? Like he shoots a few of them in the head and they die, and he shoots a few of them in the chest.
See, this is what I thought was funny too, is that like, you're shooting around, right? And they're not really getting affected. Then he, caps one right in the head and he just slowly falls. Yeah. Cool. Established, right? Headshots. This
Wrong.
Point. Yeah. Come on, bro. Like headshots. That's all you got to do. And then he's like shooting like their leg and their stomach. And it's like, and then he wastes three rounds before he's like, oh, let me shoot him in the head.
Yeah. Like 100%.
Crazy.
Like
close range.
Trying and like he can't, at this point, it's like you're wasting your bullets.
And then he gets mad that his bullets runs out.
Right.
Like, that he runs out and he's like, oh, damn.
Yeah. And so they're running and then he's like, he sees an open door and like Liza just closes it.
Yeah.
Liza's
she's like, hey,
already in there.
hurry up, let's go.
Leaves him out there, right? And he's like, he's got enough time to go back and forth between the groups of zombies because they're so slow. He's like, oh, I can't go that way. No, wait. I want to go this way. So Liza ends up locking herself in the morgue where Jill is at.
Yeah, we forgot about Jill, right?
Yeah. Jill, who was chased by the blob, was still in there this whole time. So she's in there and she is hugging onto Liza and they're trying to save her or whatnot. But I think if I remember correctly, her eyes cut to white. She has the milky eyes. Yes. Like she's infected. Kind of
like her friend Emily.
Right. Like she's now part of the dead in a way. And I think at that point, that's when the doctor finds Liza again. Oh, no. Here we go to another good part. The doctor goes into a room, and it just so happens that his buddy, who's actually, the
like a medical examiner, pathologist.
Yeah. And he does the autopsies and stuff. He was there, and in the corner, and there's like a medical sheet in front of him, and he slowly cuts it open with his scalpel. Just slowly cuts it open. So the doctor's like, what the hell is that? Right? Like he's got his gun, and it's like, it's Harris. And he's like, it's me. He goes, Harris. He goes, what the hell happened here? He goes, I don't know. Which doesn't make sense, right? Because, like, where's everybody else at? Why is Harris there by himself at this hospital? And all the streets, when they drove there, it was empty. Like, nobody, like, she even said, Liza was like, where is everybody? But somehow Harris stayed. Yeah. So then all the zombies are coming, and the doctor's got bullets. And again, he's shooting in random places, not realizing, hey, if I shoot him in the head, they're one shot. And the zombies are coming at them. And then the house has, or the spirit or whatever it has had it, and it blows the window.
And just all that glass.
And the glass just goes right into Harris's face. Yeah, done. That was the end of that. Like the house is just like, the zombies are taking too long. Let's kill these right now. Right? This was a bad idea.
We're going to sleep for a minute.
Far, wind has been working so far. Let's use that. And so, long after that happens, the doctor runs again with Liza, right? And so Liza and him are just, shooting zombies. And then finally, the window, or it would look like, I guess it's a glass wall, shatters, and some of the zombies grab Liza. And he's holding Liza. One of the zombies is holding Liza like a hostage. And did you see her eyes when the doctor decided to take shots?
So these are the parts where we're just like, oh God, this is good.
Yeah, she was more scared about him taking a shot than the zombies holding her hostage.
The fact that they even got a hold of her is impressive.
Right, exactly.
So she's like, they're not going to do anything.
I mean, he rifles off two of them, right? And hits the zombie in the arm, and then finally hits one in the head. And it's like, whew, you're lucky, Liza. Like, you could have died the wrong way. Yeah. So then they run out, and then he's still shooting them in the body and everything, just like, whatever.
Making their escape.
Right. And so I guess, like, speaking of the escape, they go downstairs. And then they end up in the hotel/house's basement. Yep. And they're freaking out. Like,
and what do you think is in that basement?
Right? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And I don't know what happened to Jill, because Jill was with her. Did Jill get shot?
So Jill was kind of looking like she was getting possessed, and she attacked Liza, and John kills Jill.
Oh, yes.
She starts just randomly just freaking out, and John's like, I don't have time for this.
Right.
And he that's it. Put her out. Join your mom and dad. Like, you were an orphan.
I think he one-shot her, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And mind you, in between a little bit of this, we cut back to Emily. And Emily's in her house. that was apparently no one was living there, right? So she's there in the house, and she has her dog, Mickey. And all of a sudden, she starts to feel the presence.
Yeah.
And she's blind, right? So she's surrounded by zombies just standing in her room. She's freaking out. And she calls out, Mickey, attack. And the dog attacks. He attacks like 2 or 3 of them for what we can see. And then there's some pretty good ferocious attacks. Nothing compared to the movie you recommended, which was Evil Lurks.
Oh, yes.
That nothing compared to that dog scene, but it was good enough, right? Like it was like, oh, like this guy's not even wearing protective gear, and the dog's really going at it. That I can tell. I mean, they could be playing for all I know, but the sound effects made it sound like it was really happening. And what I applauded to with this scene was, you heard the dog go quiet, and no zombies are moaning or anything. So she's like, oh, he's dead. I'm freaking out. I'm in the corner. I'm blind. And at the same time, she's yelling to them, I don't want to go back.
Don't make me go back. I don't want to go back.
I did what you wanted me to do. Don't make me go back. And she's freaking out about that more than actually dying. And so then all of a sudden the dog shows up. And she's like, oh, good girl.
Good girl, yes.
Good, Mickey. Good.
And damned if that dog... Man's best friend, my ass.
Fulci comes through again.
Yes. That dog turned on her real quick and just snatched her throat.
And a good chunk of it. Like that dog went in like seducingly, like like it was going to eat a taco. Just tilted its head and went into that neck, ripped her off. And again,
Emily can't catch a break.
Damned at that dog. Didn't go again.
Yes.
Going after her ear. Just like ripped off that right ear real hard. Like it came out. The camera work was really good. Because she was stuck in a corner, like on her back, kind of like laying there, like vulnerable while the dog's just going at it. So that's the end of Emily. I don't know what her key role was.
I think that probably gets tied in maybe with the other movies.
Oh, okay. Because like the only thing I could think of is like maybe telling Liza to not be there, but she was actually supposed to lure her there. I don't know. So then we cut back, and it's the doctor and Liza. When they're in the basement, they notice like a thick fog, right? Like it was a real thick fog. They hold hands together. They run forward. The camera turns from behind them to in front of them. And as they got to the camera, they both had milky white eyes.
And they just kind of, succumb to... It's a very bleak ending. Like,
right,
if there's no happiness, they lost.
Yeah, like the area that when the fog was kind of clearing, you can see dead bodies on the floor. But like just like 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 6 most on the scene. And it's like a desert and like it's real dusty kind of looking.
Yeah, and I was like, so they're in hell? They went through that gateway, and why is hell so dusty?
Right.
Why does it look like Coachella? Like, there's just dirt everywhere. I thought, I expected to see some flames or something.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think it goes to Adam and Eve in purgatory.
Oh, and that's where Emily was like, I don't want to go back. Don't make me go back.
Right. So I think it had to do with more of that purgatory. But then that was the end, and the music comes on, and it had you wondering...
Well, damn. Well, shit.
Right. That what I wanted in the beginning, where Liza could have been crazy, that twist happened at the end. Like there was no winning. There was nothing that
that doctor, he's just like, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah,
and he's like, damn, she went crazy.
Yeah, you see it in his milky white eyes. He was just like, oh my God.
He's like, I can't believe this.
Yeah. He's like, I just picked her up to go have a drink. And look what happened.
Yes. So one scene that we didn't talk about, because I know like with how this film just jumps around so much, and it gives us like little, you know how like with some series, long running series, they have what's called filler episodes. So like I feel like this scene really it didn't serve any purpose other than just to like creep out the viewer. And I know I already know I'm gonna get to it because that's the first thing I told you about after I finished this movie. The spiders.
Oh my God, I
So
forgot
the hotel
about those.
worker, Arthur, was, because obviously, you know, the first guy that tried to fix that leak in the basement, right? Well, that didn't work out for him.
Right.
So this other guy is like, you know what? I got it. I'm gonna, you know, figure this out or whatever. And then he goes to a library because of that book, the Aben book, or
Right.
Ivan, however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
And then he finds it, and then he falls off of this ladder thing that he was using to get that book, and then he becomes paralyzed. He
Right.
can't move.
It was like a library ladder. And
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, he was standing at the top of the ladder with the book that he wanted, and it had something like a blueprint, right? Had a
The blueprint to the hotel. That's what he was
Blueprint of the
looking
hotel.
for, because he needed that to like try to fix the issue.
And
So
again, the curse or prophecy or whatever you want to call it.
it's like,
Yeah,
don't be looking at the blueprint.
And so
That's
it just
mine.
strikes some lightning, and it freaks him out. And
Yeah.
he falls from the top, which is just
That
like the
house-
painter did.
That house is like, this is none of your business, my man.
Yep. And again, natural weather works. Wind, lightning, but the zombies weren't doing anything. They hardly, I mean, they killed 3 people in the house, but like other than that, they were just slowly
How long it
roaming
took
there.
to do it, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely this possession, this curse is like, look, I'm here to get stuff done. I need to start taking these people out. Y'all are not impatient.
Should have
So
never hired
obviously
y'all.
the house is a woman because she is taking matters in her own hands.
Yep.
So, and then, you know, he becomes paralyzed and he is just sitting there, or laying there rather. And then just these spiders just start coming up, and it's playing that eerie music. And then the spiders are just as slow as the zombies, just creeping and crawling.
Yep.
And they're all coming out of the woodwork, and he's just chilling there. And then they start getting on him, and it is the sound effects for me. The loud screeching, chirping kind of noises that they're making as they're climbing all over this dude. And they're just going to town and like tearing up his face, like biting his lip. And then there's that one scene where they get a hold of his tongue. Somehow the spider like multiplies by like 4, and it gets like 4 times the size that it was.
Right.
It's just sitting on his chin, taking his tongue out. I feel like that scene lasted longer than it needed to, probably.
Again, Fulci, right? That was
Yes.
very Fulci. Like it was slow moving shots, different
Boring.
shots and different angles of spiders, these tarantulas that were.
The audio elements of adding to that creepiness, because if I were to watch this and something else were playing, or if it was just more mellow music, it would have not had the same effect. But because it was just the sensory, I don't know, maybe I have like sensory issues or something like that, but it's just a combination of them making those noises and all of that, and them eating his face. I was like, oh,
Yeah, because they're
God.
tearing through it, and you can hear the flesh. Like they're like super strong, right? They're like tearing through it like it's just their ants. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I've seen some gory stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I watched the most jacked up stuff.
right.
But that's what made me uncomfortable. It was like, this, I don't like it.
And you say he's paralyzed because his eyeballs
his
are
eyes
moving
are moving
around.
around.
Yeah, while they're just tearing him up.
He's just getting tore up.
And I thought it was so funny that I didn't know why couldn't you just put the spider on the camera lens instead of just showing it on a piece of glass, on a pane glass, and you're looking at it like from underneath a coffee table or something
Yeah.
to mimic them on his face, you know, like why couldn't
No.
you just put it on the camera? But that scene was so slow, and these spiders came out from the woodwork like I don't know where
Yeah.
these tarantulas were. These
Just from the wall
Amazon.
cracks. The Amazon
All of a sudden, they're in Louisiana, attacking people on the floor. Like, oh, he fell. He's down. He's ours. Let's go get him.
You know what? One thing that it did like too is they showed that POV shot from where like it's like his eye watching a spider just crawl over his face, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Right, and it was a real spider.
Yeah,
and
I couldn't do it.
I felt like the makeup was really on top of his face because you could see his tongue moving around. His teeth didn't look fake; they looked real. But then when it started pulling the lip apart, it was like, whoa, maybe that is fake because I don't know how you could hide his lip underneath all that. But yeah, I forgot about the spider scene. And then all of a sudden, the blueprint disappears.
Yeah.
From the book. I'm like, why did you just do that to begin with? Like,
yeah. It's just because, again, woman, spiteful.
Oh, he found the book.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson for not minding your own business.
Yeah, so this movie definitely, I could see the cult appeal. I can definitely see how the culture embraces this. It has elements that we were looking for. It was over the top, low production. We didn't know it was a cult classic. It nailed every criteria that we wanted, and it just happened to be by mere coincidence and sparked this podcast. We're just trying to get a feel of everything, but I feel like this was a pretty good first episode for us.
Yeah, I feel happy with it. And for me, I think I would score this movie. And this score is, not necessarily just for like the plot of the film, but for like all of the elements that go into it. The time that it came out in, did it hold up, today in 2025? Would I view this, objectively like as a good movie? And I enjoyed it. I would give it maybe like a 7 out of 10. I think it did a really great job with the horror elements. It gave you gore. I think another great thing about cult classics is a lot of them are kind of funny, right? They're like meant to spark humor, even though like the subject material is supposed to be scary. It's horror and gory and has elements of mystery in it, but it also gives you that comedic relief because there's just no way that whenever they're filming it, and I still laugh when she's like, "Oh, where is the doctor?" The way like, girl, when you filmed that was over the top, but it was kept for a reason. You know what I mean?
A lot of it was like, this is my time to shine as an act. So I'm going to do like over the top. Yeah, it was definitely. 7 out of 10 is a very good rating. I was using a different kind of rating, and you and I recently purchased a film and TV journal, and it's it's got a limited amount in there, and I feel like this is that journal worthy. I would put this in the book as definitely a movie I would recommend, and I give it around an 8 because of the ideas that was put behind it. I don't give it all of it, the extra 2 stars because the storyline's broken. It goes back and forth. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but I feel for the most part, like it would definitely be worth playing for anybody who's into old kind of horror movies that we're into,
and especially a non-American. Right.
We're talking about somebody who's clearly known for his type of work, and he's Italian, and apparently this director as well. His name is Sergio Salvati. Apparently he does good work as well. So it just all aligned for them, and we'll see if we can find the other 2 out in the wild. I know they're out there to stream and stuff, but that's not part of our gig here. We're trying to find these based on what we know, and what we know is this is a trilogy.
So is this one a Half Price Books find?
Oh yeah, this was a Half Price Books find. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out Half Price Books.
Yeah, definitely support us and sponsor us.
Yeah, right. Half Price Books is like, we're already selling our books at half price. You think we got money to be sponsoring anybody?
We're promoting the movies that you can't find at every half price.
Yes.
I think I came across somebody's horror collection because there was a couple of other ones I didn't find worthy for our podcast, but I did watch them anyways. And I'm not saying that the movies that we choose are going to be like that going forward. There was just, I bought those movies and watched them without, thinking that we're going to use it for the podcast. I think when we find them out there and you and I think it's, hey, look at this cover and look at this synopsis, like, let's go for it. We'll watch it from there and see what happens.
Yeah. And I think maybe something we can explore too is, I mean, we don't know what to expect, like who's going to listen to this and people are going to like it or not, or if they have suggestions or know like films. I would definitely want to hear about them, and that way we can kind of comb through those too and keep our eyes peeled when we're out and about looking for stuff and things like that. Let
them, I guess if you can, let them know what our email is.
Oh, yes. So our email is going to be it is cinemacreatureclub@gmail.com. And then I have also created a Instagram page for people to follow. I'll put our link on there once, or so people who can listen to our podcast. We'll put up a Spotify link there, and it is going to be at Cinema Creature Club. That's mainly managed by me, but I will definitely be sharing comments and suggestions and things like that with Socks as we're navigating this. I really enjoyed doing the first episode. I have to admit I was nervous, but we're friends, so it makes it easy to talk. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so total fun. This is something we're going to go forward with. And I just want to say that this first episode will drop on Halloween 2025. And I will have the links posted of where you can actually download and subscribe to our show.
All right. Until next time. Until the next film.
Yes. See y'all later.
Bye.